Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Here we start with another video. Welcome to my channel. And today we are going to start with the topic pollination. So already we have discussed about microsporogenesis and megasporogenesis, which are the methods of gamete formation. So that is a pre-fertilization event. If the gametes are formed, what is the next process needed to be done? The gamete should fuse with each other, which can be achieved by gamete transfer. Okay, the second step of pre-fertilization event is gamete transfer. Okay, this is the second step. Again I repeat, once pre-fertilization, in the pre-fertilization event, the first thing to happen is gametogenesis, then gamete transfer. In angiosperm, gametogenesis includes microsporogenesis and megasporogenesis, which respectively results in the formation of pollen grains and then embryo sac. Okay, once they have made, they are in different places. Pollen grains are inside the anther. The embryo sac is inside the ovule. So hence both have to meet each other for fusion to happen. For that, gamete transfer is required. Okay, which gamete is usually transferred? The male gamete. Here the male gametophyte is being transferred, that is the pollen grains are transferred. Hence that process is referred as pollination. Pollination is the transfer of pollen grain from anther to stigma. So from which anther to which stigma, that results in different types of pollination, that is autogamy, getinogamy and xenogamy. In normal terms we call them as self-pollination and cross-pollination. Self-pollination happens within the same plant, cross-pollination happens between two different plants of the same species. Okay, and here this auto, getino and xenogamy are further subdivision. Autogamy is purely a self-pollination method. Auto is self, gamy refers to the gametes is actually a word, Greek word, which means marriage. That is a few like transferring of male and female gamete. That is what it refers to. So what is autogamy actually refers to? It refers to the transfer of pollen from anther to stigma of the same flower. So it is happening within the same flower. What about getinogamy? It is a transfer of pollen from anther to stigma of a different flower, but both the flowers are present in the same plant. So getinogamy is transfer of pollen from one flower to another, but both the flowers are present in the same plant. When it comes to xenogamy, xenogamy can be also referred as allogamy. Okay, in this the transfer of pollen happens between two different plants of the same species. That means from one plant to another plant the pollen is being transferred. That's what is the concept here is. So autogamy, when you look at it, it is happening within the same flower. So there is no need of pollinating agents basically required here. As it is happening in the same flower, it is purely a self-pollination method. What about getinogamy? It is happening within the same plant. From one flower to another flower the pollen is moving. So functionally it is a cross-pollination, but genetically genetically it is a self-pollination, because both pollen and egg are from the same plant only. Male and female gametophytes are from the same plant. When it comes to xenogamy, it is purely cross-pollination only, because it is happening between two different plants and genetically also they are different. Hence it is purely cross-pollination. In case of autogamy and getinogamy, inbreeding depression can develop. Due to self-pollination, the same genetic material is being depleted, being added up again and again, fusing again and again. That leads to a condition called inbreeding depression. Okay, in case of xenogamy, it promotes hybrid vigor, which is also referred as heterosis. So far we have discussed the various features of autogamy, getinogamy and xenogamy. So we know that autogamy and geitonogamy promotes inbreeding depression, and xenogamy promotes hybrid vigor, which is also referred as heterosis. Okay, then there are certain properties present in flowers which can ensure self-pollination or cross-pollination. So these characteristics which are present in the flower to promote self-pollination are basically referred as inbreeding devices. Okay, so the features or the devices which ensure self-pollination are referred as inbreeding devices. These are also named as contrivances, that is the devices. That simply means the features or the devices present in the flower. So what are the natures of a flower which has to undergo self-pollination? First thing, it should be bisexual. Being bisexual is referred as monocliny. Flowers must be bisexual to undergo self-pollination. Then even though if it is having both male and female parts, both has to mature at the same time, and that property is referred as homogamy. Another property is referred as clustogamy. What is clustogamy? The flower never opens, it remains in a closed condition. The flower itself is in a closed condition, which is referred as clustogamy. So in a closed flower, the pollen has very negligible chance of transferred from there to another flower. So it cannot be transferred, the flower is closed. So hence it has to undergo only self-pollination. The next thing we have is bud pollination. The pollination happens in the bud condition itself. That means the opening of the flower didn't happen. It was in a bud condition, pollination was over. Okay, these are the 4 features which can promote self-pollination. And if these features are present in a plant, obviously self-pollination is going to happen in those plants, in the flowers especially. Okay, what are the features must be present in the flower? One is monocliny, second is homogamy, third one clustogamy, fourth one bud pollination. Monocliny is bisexual flower, homogamy is maturation of anther and stigma, that is the carpel, at the same time. Clustogamy, the flowers are remained in a closed condition. Bud pollination, the pollination occurring in the bud condition is itself before opening of the flower. Okay. Now let us see what are clustogamous flowers. The clustogamous flowers remain closed so that anther and stigma are never exposed to the air, so that there is no possibility of pollen grain being released in the air, and there is no possibility of stigma receiving the pollen present in the air. So the only possibility is self-pollination, especially autogamy. Since the flowers are remaining closed, they don't need a pollinator, they don't need an insect or bee or wasp or any hummingbird or anything like that for pollination to happen. So this ensured seed set. Okay, this ensured seed set happening over here. What is seed set? Basically formation of seed. So clustogamous flowers produce assured seed set. So for sure there is a formation of seed. That's what is meant by assured seed set. Okay, again I am repeating, clustogamous flowers remain closed, so they undergo self-pollination, especially autogamy only, no need of pollinator, and pollination and seed set formation is going to happen for sure. So they are responsible for producing assured seed set. The next thing we are going to discuss the advantages of clustogamy. What are the advantages of having a closed flower? Having a closed flower is referred as clustogamy. So here the production of the seed set is assured even in the absence of pollinators. Okay, so you are going to get seeds for sure, which can give rise to the next generation of the plants. Disadvantages, Obviously, inbreeding depression happens, and inbreeding depression generally leads to loss of vigor. Vigor here refers to the ability of the plant to grow, withstand the various climatic condition and having unique features. That ability starts to decrease gradually if the plant continuously undergoes self-pollination. So that is going to happen. It is a very important question both in terms of CBSE board exam as well as NEET exam. So remember what is the advantage and disadvantage. Advantage is production of assured seed set, and disadvantage is development of inbreeding depression and loss of vigor. So we know that cleistogamous flowers are closed flowers. They remain closed all the time. They are never going to open. And opposite of cleistogamy is chasmogamous. Chasmogamous flowers remain open. So once they remain open, what actually happens to the necessary holes of the flower? The necessary holes are androecium and gynoecium, which consist of anther and stigma respectively. They are being exposed. So cleistogamous flowers remain open, which make the reproductive holes, anther and stigma, to expose, so that stigma can receive the pollen present in the air. The same way, anther can release the pollens into the air, so it can be carried to the different flowers. So here the flowers may undergo self-pollination where the possibility is greatly reduced. In case of homogamy, it can happen, self-pollination. What is homogamy? When both anther and stigma mature at the same time. If they don't mature at the same time, then the pollination is going to happen in a cross-pollination method. Okay, so anther and stigma maturing at different time is referred as dichogamy. Here obviously pollinators are required, and flowers need to be prominent to attract pollinators, as well as it has to produce nectars. All those requirements need to be fulfilled. So here again I repeat, cleistogamous flowers are closed, chasmogamous flowers are open, hence they expose anther and stigma. They may undergo self-pollination or cross-pollination. Preferably they undergo cross-pollination only. Hence pollinators are required. To attract pollinators, they should have attractive features like big flowers, colorful petals and good smell on them, and as well as nectar should be produced. So there are some plants which have both cleistogamous and chasmogamous flower. Cleistogamous is closed, chasmogamous, some people pronounce that as chasmogamous also, both are okay. So this chasmogamous flowers are there in certain plants. Both flowers are there, both type. That includes oxalis, viola and pansy. This is VIOLA. It looks like D, so ignore it. It is VIOLA. Oxalis, viola and pansy are some plants where both cleistogamous and chasmogamous flowers are present. We have already discussed certain features which promote in self-pollination. We called them as inbreeding devices, and now we are going to look at outbreeding devices, the features that help the flowers to undergo only cross-pollination. Okay, hope this is clear. So the first feature we are going to look at is dicliny or unisexuality. Okay, so what is dicliny? Having male flower or female flower. From the word unisexuality we can understand there is going to be only unisexual flower. The flower is either male or female. It has either the male flower or female flower, like that. Okay, either it is a staminate flower or pistillate flower. So by means of having unisexual flower, it is being ensured there is no self-pollination. So this unisexual flowers might be present in the same plant. If both male and female flowers are present in the same plant, that condition of the plant is referred as monoecious. Monoecious is a condition of a plant where both male and female flowers are present in the same body. Okay, example castor, maize and coconut. I guess you all are aware about coconut tree, and in the same coconut tree only male and female flowers are present. And the next thing we have is dioecious plant, where male and female flowers are present in two different plants. So you have a male tree separately, female tree separately. Male plant and female plant are separately identified, which you could see very clearly in case of papaya, because in our locality papaya plants are easily seen. You have a male papaya plant which doesn't produce fruits at all. The female plant only produces fruits. It is necessary to have a male plant so that pollination can happen and fruit formation can be followed further. There are other examples such as mulberry and date palm. So dicliny is a nature of unisexuality, having unisexual flowers. Having unisexual flowers ensures cross pollination. It could be either getinogamy or xenogamy. Okay, but it is better to avoid getinogamy also, because it happens within the same plant. So there are various features which are helping in that too. So the next feature which can help in cross pollination is dichogamy. Dichogamy refers to the maturation of anther and stigma happening at different times. Either anther can mature first, which is referred as protoandry, or stigma can mature first, that is referred as protogyny. Okay, so example for protoandry is salvia and sunflower. Protogyny is Mirabiles jalapa. So dichogamy is maturation of anther and stigma at different times. There are two types under that. Protoandry, the word andry refers to androecium. So androecium is going to mature first. Protogyny, gynoecium. Gyne refers to gynoecium. So gynoecium is going to mature first here. The next feature which can help in cross pollination is chasmogamy. That is the presence of open flowers. Okay, flowers remain open so that stigma and anther are exposed to do their respective jobs. Then comes hercogamy. Hercogamy is the presence of morphological barrier between carpel and anther. So anther and carpel, that is the stigma, can mature at the same time, but there is some kind of barrier between them, some hindrance between them. So the pollen of the self flower never reach the self stigma present in the same flower. That is what it means. Okay, then we have self incompatibility. This is a unique thing, and this is also referred as self sterility or intraspecific incompatibility. Self incompatibility, that means the self pollen is not compatible to bring out fertilization. That is what is also meant by self sterility. The own pollen cannot fertilize the egg. That's what is meant by self sterility. Intraspecific, that within species it cannot happen. That is what it is meant by these terms. All these terms means the same thing. The self pollen cannot cause fertilization in the same flower or the flower present in the same plant. So it is a genetic mechanism. Okay, it is a genetic mechanism that prevents self pollen from fertilizing the ovule by inhibiting pollen germination or pollen tube formation. Okay, so the proteins which are present on the stigma and on the pollen grain are responsible for this. The proteins are produced as a result of the DNA content which is present in the respective parts. So hence it is a genetic mechanism. Example for plants which could bring out this self sterility is potato, sunflower, mustard. There are many other plants which have these mechanism. Prepotency is the next property shown by the flowers to promote cross pollination. So pollen grains of another flower germinate more quickly than self pollen. That is what is referred as prepotency, which could be easily observed pear and apple. Pear and apple, it's not pear, it's pear and apple. Then we have heterostyle. Hetero, different. Styly refers to the style present in the carpel. Heterostyly actually refers to the different heights of style in with respect to the the filament present. Okay. So in this method, it actually refers to the pollination happening between anther and stigma of same height, but the anther and stigma which has same height are going to be present in different flower. So here we have an example. This type is referred as diheterostyly because only two different length of filament and style is possible here. So this part is stigma, this is style, and here this is anther and this is filament. You could see that here the style is longer than the filament. The same type of flower, in the same species, another flower is present where the filament is longer compared to the style. So the length of the style here matches with the length of anther here. Hence this anther is capable of pollinating this style. The same way, the longer filament containing stamen has the capability to pollinate the carpel with a longer style. So depending on the length, it is going to happen. The long styled flower is referred as pin-eyed flower and short styled is referred as thumb-eyed. This property is referred as diheterostyly because two different length of style is possible, longer style and shorter style. Okay, so this property can be seen in primrose. Hope now it is very clearly seen, the diagram. So the next property we have under heterostyly is triheterostyly. So three different length is possible for the style here. This is seen in Lythrum and Oxalis. Okay, so in the diagram you could see here you have the longest style, the longest one. Here it is longer, so here you could see the length is comparatively little lesser. This is the shortest one, and the same way the flower which have the longest style don't have the filament which could meet up with the height of the style. The same you could see in other flowers also. Okay, so now this style can receive pollen grains, not just receive, I mean the fertilization, for successful fertilization can happen if it receives pollen grain from such anther which is present in the longest filament. Okay, the same way this shortest filaments can successfully bring out pollination in the shortest style, and the intermediate height can bring out pollination in the intermediate height ones. Okay, so this is what is going to happen. The rest of the things you can match out and learn. Okay, is that clear? Yes. So let us have a comparison between inbreeding and outbreeding devices now. The inbreeding and outbreeding devices are compared here. The inbreeding devices include monocliny, which is referring to bisexuality, presence of bisexual flowers. Outbreeding devices, in contrast to that, we have dicliny. Dicliny is presence of unisexual flower which can be existing in either monoecious condition or dioecious condition. Then under inbreeding devices we have the property of homogamy, that is anthers and stigma mature at the same time. But in contrast to that, outbreeding devices we have the property dichogamy. The stigma and anther mature at the different times. If stigma matures first, it is protogyny. If anther matures first, it is protoandry. Under inbreeding devices we have clustogamy, presence of closed flower, and now under outbreeding devices the contrast property is chasmogamy, presence of open flowers. In inbreeding devices we have bud pollination, where the pollination occur in bud condition. In outbreeding devices we have hercogamy, it is not exactly the contrast character, but another character which is present. These three are exactly the contrast features. Okay, but other are not contrast exactly, but these features are present. What is hercogamy? It is referring to presence of morphological barrier between anther and stigma. Self-incompatibility is a genetic mechanism which doesn't allow the self pollen to germinate, or pollen tube formation is stopped at a point. Prepotency is the capability of other pollen to grow rapidly on the stigma rather than the self pollen. And heterostyle is presence of different length of style in with respect to anther in different flower. So the anther and style of the same length can bring about successful fertilization. So this is a overall view about inbreeding and outbreeding devices. The outbreeding devices are a very important question in exam. In a board exam, this is a very important question, even in NEET MCQs. In NEET MCQs, basically you get questions with these terms which has been mentioned. None of these terms are in your textbook, NCERT textbook. Hence, it is highly recommended you learn all of them properly. Okay. So, learn them properly. In the next video, we could compare the points a little bit, how to learn, match up these points. If you read once or twice, I hope you will be able to understand what points are listed in the lecture. In this lecture, some of them are there in your textbook, not all of them. Only few of them are mentioned under the topic outbreeding devices. You can refer that. Thank you.